everyone, this is AMECO English service and you're watching our daily updates live from the studio. I'm Gaila Damu, stay with us. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed urges African nations to influence standards that enable them to participate in innovative technologies. The Premier said African countries should be able to influence standards in a way that corresponds with their values and enables them to participate in innovative emerging technologies. Addis Ababa has the details.
Addressing the 70th Internet Governance Forum, the Premier underlined that African countries should be able to influence standards in a way that it corresponds with their values and enables them to participate in innovative emerging technologies. He further noted that the advent of the Internet has no doubt revolutionized global societies, economies, and politics, adding that the dynamism of the global community and the related socio-economic and political shifts will help them to co-create a shared understanding on the use and governance of the Internet. According to him, most, if not all, African nations have been leapfrogging in this highly globalized context and with the hopes of closing the digital divide. He underscored, while there are many advantages to this, undoubtedly plenty challenges confront and await them as the continent with the dark side of the Internet requiring adequate policies and practice safeguards to be in place. The Prime Minister pointed out that the Internet's contribution to social development is immense, and he stated that the democratization of knowledge and communication, access to entrepreneurship skills and new employment opportunities, healthcare access and education are a few noteworthy ones. However, Abiy stressed that today the principle of neutrality of the Internet is questioned and giant platforms control the contents that users can access. Abiy stated that they control their personal data, and with the power of artificial intelligence, they very quickly cease to be gateways and rather become gatekeepers. He argued that in politics, it has allowed greater participation, but it has also posed a threat to political stability, sovereignty, and democratic values of nations. He said that the key elements of Internet politics are the manipulation of information to frame ideas and behavior. Abiy added, spreading of misinformation and rumors by individuals protected by anonymity has become a common practice. On the other hand, the Premier stated that the rapidly evolving global digital landscape is allowing producing massive amounts of data. The Prime Minister elaborated, countering imbalances in ownership of submarine cables, terrestrial fiber optic networks, and data centers, as well as international data traffic routes, particularly for Africa, are dependencies that risk jeopardizing state autonomy. Moreover, he said, we need to have data strategies to strengthen privacy standards and need to prevent feeding the artificial intelligence industrial development and surveillance capacity of third parties. He added, data governance should also aim at harmonizing rules in the digital ecosystem to spur economic growth while protecting individual rights. The UN Under-Secretary General for Economic and Social Affairs Lee Junhwa said on his part that Africa is the least connected region. He revealed that some 60% of the population is offline, representing a majority of the 2.7 billion people who are offline globally. The Secretary General said this is a dark contrast with the developed regions such as Europe that are the mostly connected, with 89% of its population enjoying access to the Internet. At the same time, the connected people are confronted daily with misinformation, disinformation, and the fake news impacting how they live, how they work, and how they interact with each other, and the cyber attacks, among others. The 17th Internet Governance Forum, which opened under the theme Resilient Internet for a Shared, Sustainable, and Common Future, will remain open until December 2, 2022.
International partner institutions and countries are not providing enough support for refugees in Ethiopia. According to the Refugees and Returnees Service, international partner institutions and countries are not providing enough support for refugees in Ethiopia. Brown Workana reports.
Following the peace agreement signed between the government of Ethiopia and the TPLF, more than 7,000 refugees were in Mayani and Addis Ababa shelters in Tigray region were moved to the newly established Almawat shelter in Dawa district. Refugee and Return Service Director General Tesfan Gobazai told INA that Ethiopia has been doing its best to provide support and protection for refugees despite its limited capacity. However, international partner institutions and countries are still not providing enough support for refugees, he said. Ethiopia has established the Almawach refugee camp in Dabar district of North Gondar zone. It was learned. There are more than 22,000 refugees in the Almawach refugee camp, and out of the 23,000 refugees in the two camps, more than 15,000 have already been relocated. Following the peace deal, more than 7,000 refugees from Mayani and Addis Ababa have moved to Almawach. Thus found stated, with the number of refugees in the Almawach refugee camp established in a short period of time, it is difficult to meet basic service of refugees at the required level. Therefore, the support of others is needed to alleviate the problem. According to the Director General, the international partner institutions and countries are not providing as much support as required. He therefore called on institutions and countries to understand the seriousness of the problem and provide them with further support for the refugees. Thus found requested the assistance of international organizations in the effort to provide water and other basic services for the Almawach refugee camp.
Scholars disclose that African countries should get their people benefit from digitalization. Renowned South African and Swiss scholars said that African countries should get their populations benefit from digitalization. Addis Ababa tells us more.
The experts who were among the panelists at the Internet Governance Forum noted that Ethiopia's digitalization efforts could be exemplary to others. They stated the need to increase digital access, connectivity, inclusivity, and equality. Witwatersrand University Associate Professor Iginio Gagliardan told Ethiopian news agency that countries in Africa could be more assertive and demand more equality beyond access, connectivity, as well as inclusivity of the internet to benefit their people. He said, stating that digitalization opportunities sometimes come with conditions, exploitation, and data colonialism. He added the internet should be provided in an equitable way to all countries and should not be framed as a data of Cold War between major powers.
Countries in Africa can be more assertive and demand more. And it's not just about inclusivity. We are confident and we are assertive enough. Maybe we can change the way in which not just Ethiopia, but a number of countries think of themselves in the digital space.
According to him, African countries are applying and tailoring technology and working on digital transformation, but most of the innovation space is dominated by few. Regarding innovation, the US and China are the leading powers in the space, he said, and urged that their digital space should be a space where places like Ethiopia, South Africa could get opportunities to implement ideas and vision that connect the East and the West and advance ideas that are absolutely regional. Switzerland Federal Communication Office and International Affairs Director Ambassador Thomas Kinder told Ethiopian news agency that the expansion of the internet has come with new challenges and opportunities for many countries in the world. He said there is cultural and socio-economic status differences between developed and developing countries, and the internet issue needs continued discussion among stakeholders to narrow the difference and decide together to benefit the users equally. According to him, repeated discussion of stakeholders is important to reduce the challenges and exploit the opportunities for socio-economic benefit to the people equitably regardless of any differences.
I think the internet can be a great tool for welfare and prosperity, but also for social development everywhere in the world, in all continents. But again, it needs to be based on a culture of where people work and discuss together to use technology in a way that everybody is benefiting, that not just the rich get richer and the poor get.
Skinder added, the internet can be a great tool for welfare and prosperity, but also for social development everywhere in the world in all continents. He underscored the need to undertake continued discussions about the internet to get satisfactory answers together to narrow the cultural and socio-economic gaps. Regardless of who controls the telecommunication services, be it government or private, the services have to benefit the overall aspect of the people in any country.
Ministry of Tourism stated that attractive tourist destinations emerging in Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa, which is referred to as the political capital of Africa due to its historical, diplomatic, and political significance for the continent, is opening new tourist destinations according to Ministry of Tourism. Mo Domlier tells us more.
In an exclusive interview with Ethiopian news agency, Tourism State Minister Salamawit Dawit stated that Unity, Ntoto and Friendship Parks, Science Museum and the National Palace Museum are among the new tourism destinations expected to enhance the sector. According to her, efforts are being exerted to make Addis Ababa a vibrant city where citizens and tourists enjoy and conference tourism flourishes. Conference tourism is growing across the globe, and this creates opportunity for host countries, including Ethiopia, she added. Salamawit stated that the capital Addis Ababa held 5 exhibitions and international conferences, including a fashion show, since September 2022. The state minister pointed out that the Unity Park is quite an attraction that shows Ethiopia in one place by displaying its natural and man-made attractions as well as all the cultures of the regional states. According to her, Unity Park is the busiest destination in the city currently. The state minister further said opportunities are created to all arrival to Addis Ababa family visiting, conference participants or any other work-related visitors to enable them to visit Unity Park. Ntoto Natural Park, located at the north edge of Addis Ababa, on the other hand, delivers services with many indoor and outdoor adventures and recreational activities. The state minister noted the completion of the Friendship Project in the National Palace will bring impacts in growing the city's tourism access and enhancing the Addis Ababa's level with respect to tourism. She further revealed that the tourism package, which was a single day in the city, is now elongated to 3 to 4 days due to the increase in the number of tourist destinations in the city.
Africa has suffered $20 billion loss in over a decade due to cyber attacks. Data reportal revealed that the continent of Africa has incurred $20 billion loss as a result of 873 million cyber attacks in the period from 2011 to 2021, according to data from sources such as the World Bank, International Telecommunication Union, and telecom regulator. Abiy Burhani has the details.
Regional cyber attacks and financial losses 2011 to 2021 include the report of 40 African nations, 15 Latin America and 15 Asia or Middle East countries. Lead consultant for the UN Research on Cybersecurity Development, Jimson Olufai, said, "Cybersecurity challenge relates to all nations and this implies that all nations need to collaborate." He added that for cyberspace, they need to enact appropriate laws, putting regulations that will ensure even capacity development for citizens to enable them to know what to do or not. He said that there is positive cybersecurity in which about 65% of African countries have well-organized cybersecurity activity and there is a need to continue the process. According to him, low per capita output in Africa is a reflection of lack of proportionate increase in income, implying that African countries need to diversify their income base and boost intra-African trade. He said the stronger a nation's cybersecurity posture, the lower the financial losses per capita. Olufai noted that nations therefore need to take cybersecurity seriously to reduce losses, if not completely eliminate it. He recommended the need for a stable and accountable national or organizational governance system over a sustained period of time for cybersecurity to have a stronger correlation with development. Laws requiring disclosure of cyber attacks and losses in corporate entities and individuals should be enacted to promote transparency and accountability towards improved effort at addressing the cybersecurity challenge. The consultant further recommended that mechanisms should be put in place to make it easy for victims to report such cases. Web app that enhances ease of reporting with free tips on how to prevent future attacks and recover from losses. Olufai stated that as security offline is critical to economic development, likewise is cybersecurity critical to internet-enabled economic development activities in the fast pace for the fourth industrial revolution due to a positive correlation of internet penetration and cybersecurity to GDP data across all the research regions.
You're watching AMECO Haber English service, and now let's proceed to news beyond borders. Namibia's Deputy Prime Minister Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah is an inch closer to becoming the southwestern country's first female president. Namibia's ruling party on Monday elected Nandi-Ndaitwah as its vice president, making her the frontrunner to lead the party into the country's upcoming national elections in 2024. The 70-year-old aged-out Prime Minister Sarah Kukongilwa Amadila and Environment Minister Pomamba Shifita in the race for the number 2 position in the Southwest African People's Organization. President Hage Geingob, who is due to step down at the end of his current term, refused to endorse a successor as his predecessors had done. SWAPO has led Namibia since independence in 1990 and remains the country's biggest political party, but its popularity has recently waned because of the discontent over rampant unemployment and a graft scandal that led to the arrests of former cabinet ministers and businessmen linked to the party. The party lost its two-thirds majority in the National Assembly in the last general election in 2019, and Geingob's share of the vote fell to just over 50% from 87% 5 years earlier. Rwanda Chamber of Tourism launched the 2022 edition of the Rwanda Tourism Week, which officials said was expected to help boost the sector's recovery groundwork, and I present the story.
The week-long event, which runs from November 26 to December 3, will be marked under the theme Adopting Innovative Approaches to Boost Intra-Africa Travel as a Drive for Tourism Business Recovery. The Rwanda Tourism Week, in part, serves as one of the strategies to boost the recovery of our industry, enable our stakeholders to showcase their products, and foster partnerships that create more business opportunities, said Frank Gisha Mugesha, the Director General of the Rwanda Chamber of Tourism. The week will feature several activities such as Golf for Conservation event, scheduled to connect the region's elite businesses with the business stakeholders. It will also involve a restaurant week, a promotional culinary event where the public will have an opportunity to taste their best dishes in a variety of cuisines at their favorite restaurant at promotional rates, according to the Rwanda Chamber of Tourism. About 17 selected restaurants are participating in the promotional campaign in Kigali, the capital city of Rwanda. An exhibition is also planned to take place from December 1 to December 3, expected to attract more than 200 local and continental tourism and hospitality operators. Rwanda lost $10 million or 10% of estimated revenues in 2020 after about 20 conferences scheduled between March and April that the year were cancelled due to COVID-19 restrictions. Before wrapping up this year's tourism week, will convene leading African business leaders in Kigali at a forum to share insights on different strategies which can enable tourism and travel to boost the local economy and encourage inclusivity and sustainability, and reconnect tour operators, travel stakeholders within the African continent and beyond. Roughly 2,000 local and international delegates are expected to attend.
That's all the news we have for today. I'm Gaila Damu. Thanks for watching and stay tuned with the rest of our programs.